ones that agreed to extend him.
Because he's still the bad guy. That doesn't mean they like him.
No, they love him.
He's just the guy that can take all the blame, and everyone blames him instead of the owners. That doesn't mean that they're happy with him.
I heard this argument on a couple radio shows. He is by far the best commissioner in sports.
Goodell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they made some arguments.
No way.
I'm about to get to it. They made some arguments that at first I was like, no, he's not the best. But then thinking about it, I mean, yeah, let's go. What's his name? Gary Bettman. 2 lockouts. Missed entire seasons in the NHL. All right. Bud Selig. The doping, that whole thing tarnished his legacy. All right. And then in the NBA, you had referees fixing games. What has Roger Goodell had under his watch that he's trying to improve domestic abuse? He's trying to improve the issues with drugs. He's the only one that seemed like they were actively pursuing
justice.
First off,
he's only trying to do something with CTE because he's getting called out on it. Secondly, he's only doing something with domestic abuse because he got called out on it with the Ray Rice film. And he's had the refs walk out on him. So don't paint this guy as the patriarch of commissioners. He's not a Satan. He's not doing a very good job. They're all doing bad. Just because you're the best of the worst doesn't make you
I think Adam Silver is going to change that. I think Adam Silver is going to be the best commissioner.
Yeah, I was going to say, Adam Silver
he's doing a good
fantastic
job. I do like
far.
what he's starting
But Bettman was by far the worst.
Goodell still had Spygate that he tried his best to sweep under the rug, and then he had Deflategate once other owners were tired of what they counted as preferential treatment of the Patriots, whether or not it existed.
Oh, he's been after Tom Brady for years, though. He's been trying.
He's like the guy that packages all your fragile stuff in the box perfectly, and then when he goes to move it, he drops it. Like, he tries to make it all good, and then somehow he trips and he just drops it everywhere, and it's shattered.
Yeah. And you had Fire Alarm Gate last season.
Oh, that happens every time.
Yep.
Yeah. Fans are never going to stop knowing where the hotel room is and setting off the fire alarm if they want to. You have to also know that these people are drunk.
I've also heard, I don't know how true this is, that the NFL is looking into the feasibility of buying private hotels near all the stadiums so that they would only be used for the team and not let...
And would not have any
access. And would have their own security and no one else would be walking around in
the
there.
other the other thing that I had heard is there's a potential that any stadium going forward has to have a hotel in it.
Interesting.
So I don't know if those are actually going to happen.
Underground bunker type,
but,
Well, I mean, if it's only for the night before, so they can
now
get
need to be bomb shelters.
Anyways, we got to stop talking about this. This is just meant to be a quick drop.
Yeah, college football.
Well, hold on. We got a Lonzo Ball update.
Oh God.
This is the Lonzo Ball 2017-2018 NBA MVP update. In order to be an MVP, you have to have the respect of your peers. Do we agree on that?
No.
You have to have the respect of your peers.
Sure.
Clearly, Lon's GOAT has that. In a recent survey of fellow rookies, he was voted most likely to have the best career of his class. In addition, he was also voted best playmaker in the same survey. Kevin Durant said that in NBA Live, he traded to get the number 1 pick to draft Lonzo Ball. All right, and that's an MVP himself. This is why Lon's GOAT Ball is your 2017-2018 NBA MVP.
You're gonna make me hate him before this tips off.
Let me cover the microphone. That's the point.
Moving on.
It's working.
Really quickly before we get to that, I won a local radio contest.
Yes, congrats.
Yes, so I get a coffee prize pack. I get tickets to a football game.
Was it Death Wish coffee?
Yes.
Well, do you
shout them out?
Coffee?
I don't, but my dad does, and it's a really good gift.
Yeah, I was going to say it is. The Death Wish is great.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. Give us ad money.
Yeah.
or
coffee.
You keep giving me samples. I'll say it every week.
Yep.
Super hyped up.
Anyways, I am entered into their fantasy football league. It's an exclusive league. It's only for ESPN people and Death Wish people. And I won admission into it. And so I was trying to come up with a good name. So I have for you guys, I chose the name and I've already set up my team. But I want you to hear the names that I had come up with and tell me what you think about them. Then I'll tell you the one that I picked. First one, Colin Kaepernick.
Okay.
Hashtag free Zeke.
Okay.
Better. That's better.
Yeah, I like that better.
That's going in the better direction.
That number on Hugh Freeze's phone, that's me.
Oh, God.
I liked that one.
That's pretty good.
I like that one.
Free Falling by Bryce Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Ely on Sunday morning instead of Easy.
Okay.
One of my favorites, I didn't go with this one, Sending Cooks to the Crooks, playing off the Brandon Cooks trade to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then after who I think is my favorite player, Isn't That Adorable? Because I just love Adoree Jackson. That guy's a playmaker. He might be the offensive and defensive rookie of the year himself. But the name that I went with is Yo Draft Aguayo.
All quality. I like them.
Yeah, I like those.
All right. So now we're getting into college football. Last week, we chose 5. Well, we didn't choose 5 games. There were only 5 games.
Yes.
Game 1, Colorado State versus Oregon State. Colorado State absolutely smoked the Beavers, 58-27.
Yeah.
I was the only one that had Oregon State. You guys both had Colorado State.
I didn't.
None of us thought it was going to be that bad.
Yeah,
No,
it was.
thought it would be closer.
BYU
Colorado
20,
put a
Portland
spanking.
State 6. That was absolutely pathetic showing by BYU.
Well, wasn't that was a lot closer for most of the game?
Oh my god, it was so bad.
What
It was
the final
bad,
score
but
on that?
wasn't it?
20-6.
Wasn't it an 8-point game?
My
until,
score wasn't far off, actually.
Yeah, no.
I was actually.
It was like an
close.
8-point game until like the last like.
Yeah, they kicked a
5
field goal
minutes.
with 3 minutes left in the
Yeah.
game.
But that's BYU. Their defense. They're
Yeah,
not gonna. They're
yeah.
not gonna light up the scoreboard. They
Tanner
never have.
Mangum's a good quarterback, though.
Yeah, but they don't like they play a more pro style.
BYU has a lot to think about after that.
Oh, yeah.
poor
Oh yeah,
start.
they got a lot to correct. Thank
Yeah.
God they did it early.
Yeah.
Hawaii 38, UMass 35.
A lot closer than I expected.
I said like 41-21 I thought it would
Yeah,
be.
yeah. I think, Tony, you said that the travel was going to be an issue.
I had Hawaii winning that game.
No, you had UMass
I had
winning.
UMass winning that game.
Yeah.
Right. And how much did Hawaii win by?
Three.
Field goal,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nah.
So
See, because I was concerned about the travel. I don't
Yeah.
trust Hawaii on the East Coast. That
Yeah.
being said, I don't trust East Coast teams when they go to Hawaii.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
no.
how would you?
We'll learn about that tomorrow when I do my the spreads.
Yeah. South Florida 42, San Jose State 22. San Jose State came out like Conor McGregor punching him in the mouth.
Yeah, they looked good for
They-
about a minute.
They did. That wide
That was
receiver, that wide receiver-ish tight end, he's going to be playing on Sundays.
Yeah,
He's good.
Yeah, and USF better be concerned about their special teams play. That was bad.
But that was the good time to have the bad.
Yeah.
You needed that exposure, but they was
And
clearly
they
glaring
cleaned
that
it
they
up
had
after.
problems.
Yeah, they
Oh,
cleaned it up
I'm sure
after.
they got yelled at.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that amazing double block that the one guy had? Wide receiver down the field, blocked one guy, and then laid a sideline block on another dude to spring South Florida
see
running
that.
back for a touchdown. I'll show you after because
Okay.
it's incredible.
Oh, the one thing on Oregon State versus Colorado State. Did you guys see the play call that was a crying Jordan face?
Yes.
And then they immediately fumbled?
Yes.
That was poetry. That was poetry.
That's what you get for using that.
And then Stanford versus Rice. Stanford in Australia put up a 62 to Rice's 7.
I wrote one thing for this game, and it was LOL.
Wow. Lols.
So, like I said, Dan O'Shea actually won the week with 5. Perfect 5 for 5.
5 for 5.
Tony and I tied with 4 apiece.
Let's see how we can jack it up this week.
So we're gonna do this thing. I picked 7 games. We're gonna make our predictions, and then whoever gets the most right next week gets to choose the next games that we pick from.
Okay.
I like it.
So Tony, if you get the most, you choose the next 7 games. And when we get to the NFL regular season, we'll do 5 college, 5 NFL.
Cool.
And the
sounds
winner
good.
from the week before gets to pick it, get your games to us by Saturday.
Now
so
are we
that
going
can
to keep
do
a
it.
total?
A running total for the season?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll consider this week 1.
Right. Well, I mean,
It's the first full week.
there was 5
We
and
can
we're
count
one
it
away.
week 0, and then
Yeah.
just so we don't get confused.
Right. So we'll start keeping real track of that now. The games that I have selected for this week: Alabama versus Florida State, Michigan versus Florida, Colorado State versus Colorado. I threw that one in because of how well Colorado State played.
That made this game different.
Yeah.
That made it completely
That's like
different.
a must-watch.
Navy versus Florida Atlantic. Isn't that where Lane Kiffin is coaching now?
Yeah.
That's why that's on here.
Yeah.
Texas versus Maryland, Wyoming versus Iowa, and Cal versus North Carolina.
All right.
So, gentlemen, you want to go round by round and make our predictions, or do you want to just read them off?
I say start with one game. We'll go around
Yeah,
real
let's
quick.
do a game at a
Yep,
time.
and I'm going to write them down. So we've got... First game, we'll start with Dan Beebe. Just a second. We got Dan B, Dan O, Dan S, and Tony. All right, Dan Beebe. We have Alabama versus Florida State. Who wins? And if you have a score, what's the score?
The Roll Tide.
All right, we'll go Alabama. Did you come up with a score?
We're just going to see how
No.
it falls.
All right, Dan O'Shea, Alabama, Florida State.
I have Bama winning it by a touchdown. I didn't have an overall score, though. Probably, I'm guessing, pretty low scoring, so let's say like 24-17.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be close, but I think Bama's gonna take it. They're going to run a lot and have that time of possession. FSU still has questions at O-line, if they maintain that.
They also have a question at running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense. I'm actually not far off. It is going to be by a touchdown, in my opinion. It's Alabama 34, Florida State 27.
All right, and we'll make it a clean sweep. I went with Alabama, but I have it a little farther off. I have Bama winning 31-17.
Okay. See, I'm worried about Bama's pass rush. They lost a lot of that this season, and they're still
Yeah, but that's
Bama.
what Bama does.
Yeah, they're still Bama.
Yeah,
but
Bama just
it's
reloads.
game one.
It's-
Let's see.
They're like, oh, how are we gonna make up for any player ever in Alabama?
I think this game comes down to can Florida State get their defense off of the field at times to not allow Alabama to score?
I think the key to this game is Minka Fitzpatrick. How many interceptions does he have? How many passes does he deflect? Because they're a defense where if the defense gets the ball, they're scoring almost every time. Maybe not. That might not be a statistic, but it seems like it.
It seems like.
All right, second game: Michigan versus Florida. All right, again, Dan Beebe, we'll start with you. Who do you got, Michigan or Florida?
This is going to be my upset. I'm going to go with Florida.
Oh yeah. Let me just say, Alabama 7-point favorite. Michigan 3.5-point favorite. Dan Beebe going with Florida. Do you have a score? Or you don't have scores? I mean, you don't have to make a prediction if you don't want to. It's usually always wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, our score predictions are usually always wrong. That's for sure.
Let's I don't know. Let's go with Florida. I'll give it entertain it 20-14.
2014, Dan O'Shea.
Florida's missing 1/5 of their scholarship players right now, whether due to questionable status, suspension, or longer-term injury. Yes, a lot of those players are not starters.
But Michigan lost 17 starters.
Michigan's got to reload almost everything.
But
And their quarterback is still
think,
Wilton Spate.
yeah.
Or John O'Corn. We don't
Or
know.
John-
But
well-
Florida still has QB questions. I'm giving the edge to Michigan, especially if their O-line can get the run going and give Spate any kind of space. I think it's more of a toss-up than... What's the line on that?
3.5.
Oh, okay. So it is considered pretty much a toss-up.
Yeah, Michigan's a 3.5 at Florida. No, it's not a toss-up. I think they're at Florida, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So then that means, because the home team usually gets 3.5.
Yeah.
So it means they think that
6.5,
Michigan's a
yeah.
7-point favorite.
I think it's going to answer a lot of questions for both teams, establish their identity. I think Michigan takes it by a touchdown again. Let's say little higher scoring, I think, like 31-24.
All right, Tony.
I don't care to talk about this. Florida loses 28-17.
All right, so that's his way of saying
Wonder
Michigan.
why.
I'm not going to say it, but Florida loses.
Okay, and I have Michigan winning 21-17. All
I
right.
have my reasons.
The reason I have Michigan